A lot of people are very unaware that they can take their expertise and sell it online. This is what I call online education. Some people call it info or info products. Also, there are a lot of people selling stuff online who shouldn't be doing that. That's why this space has a pretty bad reputation. Oftentimes, I find myself trying to explain how I am now serving others, and it's through college, my company. And in this podcast with Clint, I deep dive into how this can transform your life and your business. Check it out.
Can you speak on some of the challenges that you faced shifting into the business side of music, like going from a creative to becoming a business owner in music?
There's the first zero, like shifting from not making a single cent to making money. So that was like 17 years old, so a long time ago. And then there's all the times that I made money, which was the past almost 15 years. Pretty crazy, just the journey. But I remember that I needed that one little piece of evidence that I could do this as a career. And the only way that you could be convinced that you can do this as a career is if you literally make money doing it. So everybody in the studio, there were a bunch of interns. There was like at least 30 interns. And they all went through this mentorship program. And because I knew tons about recording in Pro Tools before, and I learned everything the wrong way, recording a whole album with one mic and not knowing Quick Punch and all this stuff, and then later learning that you could do all this a lot easier, I was like a beast on Pro Tools and I didn't even know it. So then when I go into the studio, I saw this old guy who was really good at the analog stuff, but could barely use Pro Tools. I was sitting there going, I knew what he was doing, what he wasn't doing on Pro Tools, but I had no idea what was going on in the console. So that was the issue. One time he took a phone call, left, and the band was still recording. Everything was set up. I didn't need to touch anything. I just need to run Pro Tools. He went like this and he went, oh, okay. And then so I'm in the driver's seat and it's just run Pro Tools. And I immediately went into autopilot mode. Like, I'm just doing this with my band. This is just exactly what I did. I run the session. It was like a heavy metal band. And then the guy came back, the like mentor friend of mine came back, and he was taken away, not because I'm super excellent, but just because I was good at Pro Tools. Little did he know I knew nothing about the analog console.
Yeah.
So when the session was over, he said, that was pretty cool. And all these other like interns and stuff, there was some friendly competition there. And then he gave me $100 at the end of the day. Wow. I think all the other interns are thinking, when is this recording studio owner going to give me a job? Okay. I need to impress him so he can give me a job. He gave me $100, which wasn't a job. But I saw that $100 come from the $600 that the band just paid him cash. So the band pulled out $600, gave it to this guy. They left. He took that and gave me $100. So I saw that the money came from the band, not from him. When he gave me $100, he said, listen, if we have bands in here, or if you bring bands in here, as long as the studio gets $500, you can charge whatever you want on top of it. So he did a quick math equation. He said $100 times 30, $1,000 a month. That's pretty good for a 17-year-old is what he said.
Wow.
And I was like, I've never made that much money in my life. I haven't made any money in my life.
Yeah.
So any money sounds good.
Oh, you haven't even had your first job.
I'm 17. I got fired at Legoland when I was 15 and a half.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could do. So this was the first job that I had. So I think the lesson, if you will, when it clicked was, this guy's not going to give me a job. I'm the job. I need to go get bands to provide value to the studio so that he can get $500 and I can get $100. And I didn't see any injustice in that because $100 a day was like, I was like a billionaire.
By the time I was 17, I hate a job. It was odd to me. So for you to have that experience at 17, it just shows like how that paradigm and experience, like you naturally started understanding value and not necessarily being like indoctrinated heavily. Oh, I need to get a job in order to get money. I think so many people get stuck in that.
Yeah, but I was afraid because all of my friends in high school were really smart. Yeah. And they were all getting into these really good universities and stuff. So I always felt dumb. Like I just knew that wasn't the way for me. So when I was making money doing this and they weren't, and it was just like, there's a different economy here going on. And I later learned that's entrepreneurship. But yeah, seeing my dad, he was an architect and like worked for himself, seeing him succeed and struggle and do all that was just the norm for me. My parents weren't, it's not like he was like a dentist and retired 31 years later or anything like that. So that was instilled into me from the beginning, whether I knew it or not.
Where did you essentially create mastering.com and what are the origins of that?
Okay, so I just did that being production all day, every day, 12 hours a day for 10 years, recording all this stuff. And for the first 5 years was that studio. Then it was at another studio, and then it was my own studio. And I just, how do I make more money doing this? How do I keep doing this? And I just kept doing that, built a studio, did all that. To chunk it down, like for a decade, that's all that I did. Yeah. So that was cool. I feel like I lived an entire lifetime in 10 years, which I was really thankful for. And somewhere along year 6 or so of that 10-year journey, I moved things online. So I made more money doing post-production than I did in the studio. Because in the studio, I'm trading time for dollars. And online, if somebody sends me tracks to mix or master, then if I spend 10 hours doing it and I get paid $1,000, then like my dollar per hour would be $100 an hour, I think. And then if I spent 1 hour doing it, my dollar per hour is $1,000 an hour. In my mind, I was rewarded for being really good at my job, but spending not a lot of time doing it.
Yeah.
So I just spent 4 or 5 years doing that. And after that whole bit, it's to look back and go, okay, I was in the studio producing, doing that. Then I shifted online and started doing mixing and mastering online, SEO, marketing, all that stuff. So I made lots of money like in the music world, especially online. And I was relatively young when doing that, I think. That set me up to basically go, okay, I'm an expert at this. And like I've seen it work in person and online. And so shifting into mastering.com, that was the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what that was or is like an info product business. So selling information.
Yeah.
So teaching other people how to do it. So it was weird, man. Like I had this done for you business, whether it was in-person music production or online mixing and mastering. I had a team of people fulfilling all this stuff. We would master like literally thousands and thousands of songs. If you were to type in like online mastering, would be #1 for years and years. It was just pumping out stuff.
So you were like ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Before like YouTube and everything was heavy. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize that you can build like a YouTube channel or any of that. Wow. And music, generally speaking, music in this space, being the online space, it's like 5 years behind all these marketers, email copy courses or anything. It's like behind.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you're just a little bit ahead, you can get away with a lot of stuff. So I was the only guy making a website and worrying about SEO. And I was rewarded, not because I was a genius or anything. It's just nobody else is doing it.
Yeah, being first to market.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I just thought of it as first to market. How long is this going to last, basically? That's sort of the down payment on the next journey, which was mastering.com.